Are we live? Yay! Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to Thrive O'Clock. And just going to throw this out there that there might be a point where Dave is hanging out by himself on the screen, or I look like I'm just totally lost in some deep thought. So we'll see what happens because technology is totally at its finest today. But we hope you all had a great week. I am Rachelle Poth. Everybody probably knows me by now. Been doing this for almost 2 years when Mel and I started this. And so you can read about me. That's enough about me. Let's talk about Dave, who's here with me today. So Dave, for anybody joining in that may not know you, which I would find really hard to believe, let us know who you are, what you're up to, where you are these days, and
Yeah,
all the good stuff.
fair enough. So first of all, I am a fashion icon. Um, no, not at all. I'm hanging out in Florida. I moved to Florida this past year. I realized I hated the cold winters that I was experiencing up in Michigan, where I spent the first 20 plus years of my career as a teacher and administrator, and moved to Florida about 10 months ago now, where I live by the beach and jump over to the little local airport and fly around the country and help support schools and all the time. And so that's my life. I get to hang out with cool people like you, get to play in the sand, and get all dressed up on Fridays. So that's me in a nutshell.
That sounds so terrible. Like
Right? It's
the
a struggle.
weather,
It's a
I know
struggle.
the weather, the travel, the getting to work with other people. And I mean, definitely the fashion. You've got the fashion because I have to say that the times that you've joined us on here, you've definitely brought some type of like look with you. The I don't care bear in Halloween was a really good one. And you do look very, very relaxed. And so it must be, I don't know, the lifestyle and just the opportunity to probably get out and connect with people and get back to doing some of the things that many of us were doing pre 2 years ago. So um
That's
so
definitely part of it. I got in last night around midnight. I flew in from Chicago, spent a couple of days working with some amazing people there. And week before, I was in Michigan. I'm heading down to South Florida in a couple of days. So there were some good people that I didn't realize how much I missed, and getting able to connect with them again and hang out and learn and grow. It's fun.
mhm. Yeah. I think I got to go to well, I went to a conference in December. I went to TETC in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and that was great because I had been there 2 years ago and really enjoyed it. Got to see some people who I hadn't seen in a long time, and to meet some people for the first time in person. You know how that is when you've known them for years, and then I mean, it's like you even have conversations where you're like, wait, have we already met in person? Because you kind of forget,
Right.
especially in the last 2 years where you're having these conversations and it feels so real that when you're in person, you're like, no, we actually haven't met in person. So that was great. And then getting back to FETC in Orlando, which is, Miami was fine. A lot of people liked it in Miami, but there's just something about the vibe in Orlando. Although this year I was not there as long as normal. But on the last day, we had like a couple of hours before we had to be at the airport, and Jamie Donnelly, Mary Alice Curran, and I went to Epcot. I was like, we're just going. Like, why not? Spending the money to go, but we went. The weather was amazing. And then I went to TCEA in Dallas last
Okay.
month. And
And
so,
And I know you're heading close to me in a couple of months, I believe. So New Orleans is like a 2 hour drive for me. And you're going to
yeah,
be hanging out down here for a little bit, right?
I know. I'll be one of the featured voices, which I'm not totally sure all of what that's going to entail yet. And oh, hey, Bree, I had done a webinar last week for Dr. Desiree Alexander, who is amazing and so supportive of educators. And she had been a featured speaker, a featured voice a couple of years. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year prior. And so I'm waiting to see what all that involves, but I am excited for it. And I didn't realize how like the driving distance between where you are to that. So
Yeah.
will you be headed there then? I guess like
Well, knowing that you're going to be a featured voice, I guarantee I'm going to be stopping by just to say, hey. Yeah,
it's worth the 2 hour drive, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we got a Facebook user. Let us know who you are in the comments. Although it is fun to be like, all right, Facebook user. So good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. So we are just going to talk about whatever is on anybody's mind. We decided before we went live, like, we'll just see what happens. Maybe we'll play a game. Maybe we'll invite some people to join us. Who knows? But drop in the comments, how's your week going? What's something new, exciting, challenging? Anything like that? What's something that you're learning? If anybody's a conference, there's so many conferences going on. What is it? McCall? Is it McCall? Is that what it
McCall up
is?
in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, McCall. The Charter Schools Conference in California, Spring Q, which I was supposed to be there now, but that didn't work out. I think there's pretty. Oh, Barbara Gruner. I think I would have been terrible being at Spring Q right now, where it's like 80 degrees and sunny and palm trees. But
When is
that
spring
one,
break for you?
that's a great question. We don't actually get a spring break. We
Hold
have the
on.
break
What?
around
Hold
Easter.
on.
Yeah,
Rewind.
yeah,
Rewind.
yeah, yeah.
That's like one of the joys of being in education.
Not everybody has that same
Wow.
joy.
Okay.
Totally, totally. Yeah. So many friends have been saying like, "Oh, I'm so glad it's the last day. It's spring break, and oh, I'm going away," or they're traveling, and I'm thinking like, how are they going away in March? And no, we have like my school at the end of March between the grading periods. We have a clerical day. I just froze. Clerical day and a professional development day. So that doesn't really count because we're still in school. But our real spring break is, I guess, around the Easter holiday. So
Okay.
middle of April. Yeah.
So I'm
So
guessing then that means that you get out of school like May 15th, right?
yeah, no, it's like June 8th.
Okay. Well, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's a good thing you love
Yeah.
doing what you do.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. It's surprising because the school district that I live in, when I graduated, I think my graduation was like June 6th or something like that. And at the end of May, there's an amusement park that's near us, a local one. It was always like community picnic day. And then the end of the school year kind of wrapped around Memorial Day and it was still like June 6th. But now I'm pretty sure the kids have graduation like middle of May or something. And they start the school here that I live in, they start around the same time that my school starts. But we have a lot of teacher days built in throughout the year and PD days. I mean, well, PD days and so forth. So it definitely takes a little bit longer. Oh, Bree fills it middle of April as well. Oh my goodness.
So you're in the same area that you grew up in? I guess I didn't realize
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Aside from a short period, I mean, going to college, of course, undergrad, I went to Penn State, but aside from that time, and then I had a long-term substitute position that was about an hour away. And I got an apartment and most of the week, well, not the weekends, I stayed there, but yep, I'm living in the same town that I grew up in, which is fine. And I teach in a different district. It's about half an hour from me, closer to Pittsburgh. So yeah, it's
Huh.
I
Okay.
know. It seems like I'm on the move or like you never really know where I am
Yeah.
but
Well, it's so fascinating to me when I hear people's stories like that because I grew up as a Navy brat, so I went to 16 different schools growing up and moved all the time. So for me, it's kind of still in my blood to constantly be moving and doing and going, and to hear somebody that's truly you're in your hometown, which has been your hometown forever. But yeah, you
forever.
still have that itch that you got to scratch too to go out there and shake hands, kiss babies, meet people, and say hi too. So that's fun.
I don't know how many babies I've kissed like recently, but yeah, and it's interesting because like I graduated. My high school was, I think we had almost 600 in my
Well,
class, and I ran for office, like senior class officer. I did not win, which was fine.
it was
But
rigged. It
then,
was rigged.
well,
It was
get out
rigged.
of here. But I have planned all of our reunions, and we've had several. I'm not going to say how many, but it's as a teacher, like we all have those, whether or not you go to the reunions. I mean, I enjoy them. I enjoy getting to see the people, but the town that I live in, I rarely run into people, and it's not like it's a very large town. So I enjoy those opportunities. But like whenever in my school every year they have the kids are running for office, and I'm going to be the president in your class, and they all vote for one another, and I just giggle because I say, you do realize like they're the ones that are going to be planning your events for the rest of your life, like your reunion. And they were like, wait, what? I go, what do you think? It was just for this year? This is for the rest of your life. And they say, oh man, we're not going to have any reunions. But yeah, no, I like it here now. Would I move somewhere else? Yeah, potentially. Yeah, people could probably guess where I'd move to because I'm always talking about Nashville. But um,
Now, let's talk about that real quick. Can you see yourself living in Nashville? Because Nashville is one of those places where you can go and have a good time because it's not home.
Yeah.
Because you're passing people on the street that don't necessarily know you, right?
Right.
Do you think you could live there? Or would that be dangerous?
I don't know that it'd be dangerous, but my parents had gotten a place in North Myrtle Beach years and years ago, and they didn't live there. I mean, it was just like a condo, and they would go and they'd stay 2 weeks here and there, or on a weekend, or friends wanted to stay there, and it was just secondary residence or something for whatever. And so something like that where could go. I mean, the times I go, because there's so many conferences that have been happening there, I'm amazed at how many have happened, education and tech conferences that have been there in the past 5 months alone. I mean, there was one in February. It was the let's see, AASA, I think, superintendent conference. Montessori conference was there this past weekend, or no, this weekend actually. And then what's there in I just blanked out. Oh, COSN is there in April. And then there are some other ones that have come up. And I think it's just because it's such a great, centrally located. The cost of it is more effective. There's multiple venues that have a conference, whether it's in town, the Gaylord Opryland Resort, Murfreesboro is great for that Tennessee one. So I think it just brings in so much, and it's easy to get to. And that's what the draw has been. At least that's what I'm thinking, because for people to go West Coast to East Coast and vice versa, conferences in LA, super expensive.
Sure.
Like the travel, like even Palm Springs, for me to go, like the airfare alone was like $850. And you factor in the time travel with that, that's tough. So I don't know. Oh, hey, Brad, good to see you. Thanks for joining. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind having, I have fun every time I go there, and people are always asking me to plan trips for them and stuff. I enjoy it. So
do you stay down by Lower Broadway?
Usually either there, or like last summer, I planned a trip, and and you might have seen our post. It was
I did, yeah.
Dr. Katie Novak and Mandy and Tisha. There was like 12 of us. And I got us to stay at the Hyatt place right by Vanderbilt because the rooms were bigger, had the breakfast, and it was more cost effective. But then you had to Uber back and forth down to Broadway. I mean, you could walk it. It really not late at night would you want to walk when it's dark or the weather's not good, but you can definitely walk it, because when I was there last month, was that last month? Yeah, last month, I actually met some ladies that I met through Twitter that are teachers there that I get to see and have coffee with every single time. And the weather just happened to be amazing. So I walked back like 21 blocks, but it didn't take that long. And I mean, you're walking straight down Broadway. So it's a lot of fun, and there's something there for everyone. So I don't know. It's just, I've enjoyed it. And I'd like other places. I like Denver. Okay. I like going to San Antonio. I'm a fan of. So I have never been to NOLA. I won't say the real way to say NOLA. Yeah, because I don't say it right. I got this like accent, or else I want to say like the French Orléans.
So when you're there, just say Louisiana. Don't even fall for the trap, because they will sucker you into the trap.
Oh yeah. I've gotten it a lot. So I will say I'm going to Louisiana for a conference, but I'm looking forward to that to see who goes too, because it's been so long since that has been in person. And the last ISTE was in Philly, and my schedule was just crazy that year. I think I had like 55 things on my calendar, just like zooming around. I had a fantastic time, but it really matters to me to make time to for me, it's more about the connections. I like going to sessions, especially if my friends are presenting or it's something that I really want to learn about. But I find that I learn so much more in those side conversations, the events, even in just the quick chats, like on the way somewhere, we're both walking to a session. That to me is the best part, is those relationships. So what do you think? Or anybody who's joining in, Facebook user, Brad?
No, I agree with you 1,000%. A lot of the connections I've made are just from those hallway conversations, hanging out in the lobby, happening to sit next to somebody in a session. There's always great content, but the content is more a mechanism to get people there, and it's the people that you meet there that allow the learning to continue to grow and continue to go beyond the conference itself. So Nashville is definitely a favorite place of mine because you can make connections inside and outside of the conference. You can continue to connect with people after 5 o'clock or after Thrive o'clock.
Right.
Orlando is another good one. Austin. Have you ever been to Austin?
Uh, I have twice,
Okay.
and I feel bad. So if anybody's there from Austin, I don't don't take
Didn't
it
live up to your
personally.
expectations.
No, but you know what? The first time that I went there, actually, I did not fly for 21 years. So ISTE was in Denver. And in 2016, I'm like, well, that's a far drive from Pittsburgh. So I flew there with a couple of friends. And then that following January, Nearpod had like a training weekend event for their pioneers. And I ended up flying by myself, which I was like, whoa, all grown up now, flying to Austin. And got to room with Jamie Donnelly, which was great, and see a lot of other friends there, and I liked. I'd never been, but I love music, and so they're like, oh, you got to go to Sixth Street. So nobody wanted to go. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I just went and I just walked down, and listened to some music. And I thought it was like fantastic. I'm like, wow, there's
Yeah.
music everywhere. People were joining, like just, I don't know, it was having fun. And that was it. So, but as a kid, I had been to Nashville with my parents, but we saw is it the Parthenon? Yeah, the Parthenon. And I think we were just driving through on the way to somewhere else. So we didn't, I mean, that was a long time ago. But when I went to Austin that first time, I was like, wow, this is great. And then with a group of edugladiators back in April of 2019, like there were some of us, that was the second time I had ever gone, I think. Or actually, no, I went to a conference. I went to foreign language teachers conference, I think the November prior to that, but I really didn't get to go out too much. But then in April, there was a group of us there, and we got to go and explore some different things. And I liked it. We were there for writing. And then that was the same summer I organized a trip with our friends, Mandy and Tisha and Jen and Jamie, to go do some writing for like 7 days. But we actually stayed in Franklin, which is like about
Okay.
30 minutes from downtown Nashville, and did stuff in the town there. But we went down into town, did like a food tour, and then I think we went down there one more day to just get something to eat. But every time I've been there, and I've been there a lot, I've just not seen. I don't know. You see something different. But my point is, when I got to see Broadway in all of those places, then when I went back to Austin for
You're like, huh.
TCEA in
Yeah.
2020, I was like, well, this is different because middle of the day, you walk down the street and a couple places might have music,
Yeah.
but it's not like Nashville. I mean, those places are like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and there's stuff going on all day. So if you are at a conference and you're like, hey, I can either have lunch or I can go, take in some music on Broadway, you can. So that was kind of the big thing. I didn't mind it. I liked some different areas, some of the restaurants, like the food, but it was not as great of an experience as the first time. But I think it's because I didn't get to see Jamie Donnelly as much. I'm just going to blame it on
There you
that.
go. There you go. You always got to have somebody to fall back on. That. There you go. I like it.
No. So what's your favorite place to go?
Nashville's probably right up there. I am a huge fan. I could never see myself living there though. I'm too much of a beach bum to live in the middle of the country. Even when I lived in Michigan, at least we were surrounded by water. And 2 months out of the year, I could go look at it when it wasn't frozen. So I need to be near water to really relax, to really have a good time. Even if I'm looking for a conference or somewhere to speak, if
Mhm.
there's a beach nearby, I'm a happy boy.
Yeah. As a kid, I liked the beach, but actually, whenever FETC was in Miami, at the place on the beach. And there was a long story around how we had like this big room. It was like almost penthouse style facing the beach, but we were so busy that we were never able to
Couldn't enjoy
be,
it.
to go down. But the one day after I got back, I just went down the beach and just stood there by myself for like 15 minutes. I'm like, well, we used to go on the beach. And oh yeah, I did go to a conference in South Carolina in
Okay.
October, and it finished earlier on a Friday. So I went down, and the funny thing is I ended up there was two restaurants there, and I just wanted to sit outside and eat because then I was flying with Denise Wright to Nashville that afternoon. And so I found a place, and it was the Tin Roof. So of course I'm thinking I was like the B-52 is playing in my mind, but I didn't realize that the original one was in Nashville. And I had no idea. So I was like, of course I picked the place that
Of
came
course.
from Nashville.
From your
Hey,
Mecca.
yeah, another Facebook user that said, nice shirt. And hey, well, thank you. This shirt
I,
is
I
no,
know they're talking to you. Absolutely.
no way. Let us know who you are, Facebook user, because Barbara was a Facebook user. So, but yeah, the question I
So,
posed is, oh yeah, go ahead, Dave.
so I'm gonna follow up the question of where would you want to live if you could live anywhere. So
Yeah.
I'll just ask you some multiple choice questions to try to
Okay.
narrow down your focus. So we got Nashville. We're taking Nashville out of the equation for you.
Okay.
Do you want a tropical climate or do you want one where you get the seasons?
Oh, I'm going seasons.
Really?
Because I
Okay.
do I do like the snow in the
Oh,
fall.
Rachelle.
Yeah, I know. I
No.
know. I know.
One of these
I
days you'll see the light.
mean,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Mountains or beach?
probably mountains.
Okay.
Yeah,
City life or quiet life?
probably city life. I know that's kind of contrasting
So
the
basically, what you're
mountains.
doing here is you're describing Nashville, so that's okay. You're saying in the middle of America where there's country music playing 24/7. I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah, I know. And like next question, do you like to listen to music or are you a TV person? Be like, music person.
So
Um,
what is your favorite kind of music? I don't know that I know this.
Oh my gosh, everything. I mean, I in the car when I drive to work, I have Sirius, and it's the I just blanked out on it. The highway. They
Okay.
broadcast live
Yeah.
from down Margaritaville,
Uh-huh.
and I like rap music, everything, rock, rap, you name it. When I do karaoke, I may or may not have done Eminem songs in the karaoke, which surprises people because they're like, what?
Prove it.
But
Prove it, Rachelle. Prove it. That
yeah,
you
no,
No? Okay.
no. No, I would clear every Facebook user would leave. Although I should probably do it because you wouldn't see, my face freezing on the screen now. But here's a fun fact. And hello, Dr. Harvey. There is this app, and I had put it on my phone, and I can't remember what it is now because I had to take it off to make room for another app. But what it does is if you Google like AI lip sync or something, I have it on my computer at school, but you put the app on your phone and it has all of these songs. So then you do take your picture just like you would any other, Snapchat or whatever, put the filter in, and it takes your face and with the AI that's in it, puts your face into it. So then whatever song you pick, it's like you. So Eminem was one of the choices. So I put myself in there, and every time he's moving his face, my face is moving, and the students were making fun of me. So then I scanned one of the students who had a mask on, and it was unbelievable because as it's moving, like you could actually see the mouth moving from behind the mask.
Oh
It was
wow.
that neat. But like one of the songs was "Careless Whisper" by Wham. But that's something fun to do. But no, there is videotaping of it because the tool, Dr. Sarah Thomas had gotten a karaoke room, which I had never heard of at ISTE in Philly, that 2019, I guess it was. And there was, let's see, Dr. Desiree Alexander, Mandy, I think Jen Casatodd might have been there, myself, Rodney Turner, who else? Nicole Taylor, Barbara Bray was there, and Dr. Eileen Whitaker were there. So there were about 15 of us in there. And I did the Eminem song and to Tool. Oh, it's Wombo. Yes, Wombo. Awesome. Facebook user, that had to be Dr. Harvey. So it's Wombo. That's right. I was going to say Mambo, but I'm like, that's not it. But they got the video of me. And the funny thing about it is I had just come from finishing up presentations at the conference. So I was in, black dress, a jewelry, all dressed up. I saw my name badge on, and then I'm up there doing this Eminem song, and I go, that video goes nowhere, but it was on my phone, so it was safe. So
Oh,
yeah.
were there copies made? Because I'm about to send out a bunch of texts and see what I can find.
No, there were no copies made, at
Hmm.
all. But it
Okay.
was fun. And then we went. There were 5 of us, like Melody, Sarah, Alexis Terry, myself, and Dr. Joy went to Nashville in February 2020, and we got a karaoke room, but I didn't sing then. I just let them do all the singing. Oh my gosh, just Mel just talking about you. Miss you. Mel's like spring Q right now. Her place is Vegas, and we've been talking about it. I'm like, we need to go back to Nashville. And she's like, no, you got to come to Vegas. So
Are you a Vegas fan?
let's see, I think I've been there probably 4 times. Oh, I got to give her the heart. I think I've been there 4 times probably.
Okay.
But as a kid, like my parents took me and we had an exchange student come from France years ago. And oh my gosh, when I look back at those pictures, oh wow, I'm pretty sure I had a mullet at the time. But we went that time, and then we went when I was, I think, a senior. Possibly another friend came with us, and we drove to like Grand Canyon, to
Yeah.
California, drove all
Yeah.
around there. And then my mom and I had gone one time, and actually maybe only 3 times, but the third time that I went, that was the last time. And I think I was 18. And that's back in the day whenever, you still pulled the slot machine. So my mom, we were at Circus Circus, and that may be where we stayed, just because I was a kid. And she's like, you go play the games. I'm like, I don't want to play these kind of games. So she was walking around playing some of the slots, and I had the cup, and like play the coin. And I'm looking to make sure, nobody sees me. And of course I win. And it like all its coins start spouting out. I think it was like $300, which, back in the day is tons. I mean, today is a lot of money.
That's
But
a lot. Come on. Yeah.
yeah. But meanwhile, the next thing you know, you see one of the guards coming over, and I'm like, and I think my brain is a little blurry right now, but I'm pretty sure he must have said something like, you can't be gambling, or you can't do that. And I just said, oh, but my mom's, and I just like, she was just coming. I was like, I was just holding it for my mom. And then my mom was like, thanks. Now I got $300. I'm like, wait, that's not how this is supposed to work. So, but yeah, I thought about going to Vegas last year for holding a surprise birthday party, but it was really expensive. It was like $800 for each ticket round trip. So
yeah, I was in Vegas actually last summer. It was one of the first in-person conferences before they all shut back down again. So it was like they opened up, and then it was like, oh, just kidding type of thing. And it was jam packed. Like everybody and their brother who had held on for a year came out, and they said they're just letting it all loose. So I can imagine how expensive it was, because they had a commodity on travel for a couple of weeks there.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that has made Nashville rise in popularity too, is because for people going, used to go to Vegas for like, well, the movie The Hangover, like bachelor parties, but there are so many of those going on now, and it's just such an industry, because I think, I don't know, like I said, I haven't been to Vegas in a really long time, but just by the nature of all the things that you can do in Nashville, and even, I mean, in the surrounding communities, like when we stayed at Franklin, that was great. There was a lot of history.
Well, that's where all the country
there,
music singers live, is in Franklin. So
yeah, I didn't see any. At least at the time, I wasn't as into the country music as I am now, probably. But yeah, I didn't see anybody, but I did hear like that's where they all hang out. I'm like, I probably wouldn't recognize. I mean, I did just see Kane Brown in concert in January, so I would recognize Kane Brown and Carrie Underwood and Kelly Pickler and some friends. I mean, the one time I was there, they were inducting. It was for I think it was Untitled Conference, and I walked past the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and they're rolling out this red carpet. I'm like, wow, there's something going on. Like, like, is it that obvious? Well, here they were inducting I think Charlie Daniels and Randy Travis into the Hall of Fame on that day. So I went to the conference, and when I came back, they were walking along there. And so I was, literally across the street. And I mean, I grew up like Charlie Daniels band and, and just a bit to see them, it was pretty cool to see them walking up. And there were some other celebrities there, like the older country music stars that I definitely recognize. I think Ruben McIntyre might've been there as well, which was cool. I like her. So yeah, I don't know. Now you got me wanting to travel. I don't know about Vegas or I am excited for ISTE. That's for sure.
And when is that? That's in June?
End of June, yeah.
End of June, yeah. Okay.
And then actually FETC, which contrary to what people think, it is not the Florida Education Technology Conference. It is the Future of Education Technology Conference, because I initially thought that as well. But for several of the next couple of years, it's in Louisiana.
Really?
Notice what I did there? Yeah.
In Nolans. Okay.
Yeah. So next year it is. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I
Okay.
think a lot of people like Orlando, but they're switching it up. And I think TCEA next year is in San Antonio, which is when I love it. Not just because I'm a Spanish teacher and like our textbook, that's where they showed all of the things on the river walk and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know where everything is because I've shown this in my
You've done the
class
virtual
for
tour.
10 years. Yeah. But and I think ISTE's back in San Antonio next year as
Okay.
well. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. So I think it could be. It's either next year or the following year. So I don't know. There's a lot. I love going to conferences and seeing people. And I know, speaking of conferences, because I didn't want to forget this, Teach Better Conference
Yeah.
coming up. I mean, it'll be here before we know it because
Yeah.
time
It's
flies.
in the fall, middle of October.
Yeah.
It's up in your neck of the woods too. It's probably an hour and a half, 2 hour drive for you. It's in northern Ohio in the fall, and it takes a lot to get me to go to Ohio for any reason whatsoever. But I think I might go to this one. Go hang
Yeah.
out with some amazing people. It's specifically and intentionally designed to be a smaller conference
Yeah.
because we don't want 5,000 people coming together. We want to be able to do networking. Pretty much anybody that comes gets to be a part of all of the networking opportunities during the day and at night. So looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah. I went, goodness, it must have been
2019.
2019. Yeah. Because I was getting ISTE certified and I think I missed the first day because they had like the in-person cohorts in Pittsburgh Thursday, Friday. And so I left there Friday and drove to the conference on
Okay.
Saturday and got there for like the evening social and dinner. And then, had the full day on Saturday, but it was really nice to get to meet some people in person that, you've known from the different chats, your
Yeah.
TLAP and all the other chats that
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
and to be able to be in that space. And I like the big conferences just because they bring people in. I mean, especially like ISTE brings in people
Sure.
from more than 70 countries and how many chances do you get normally to like interact with these people that live all the way around the world? But I also really like those smaller conferences like Teach Better, like the one in Tennessee, which is
Hmm.
smaller scale. And Matt Miller was the keynote this year. I think the last time I went, it was Weston and Tara
Okay.
Martin were the keynotes, but just smaller, you get to make those connections. You have more time for the conversations. And I don't know, but Ohio is really close to Pennsylvania. So it's
Yeah.
not a far drive, like you said.
I didn't get to go in 2019 because I was actually in Nashville instead. So this year it is already saved. I am promising myself I'm going to be there. I will be there with bells on. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are excited about putting in proposals and thinking
Yeah.
about should they, shouldn't they? Of course.
Of
You
course you
should.
should. Yeah,
Like,
proposals are open right now, so do it. What do you have to lose? I mean,
yeah,
do it. Do it. Everybody's got something to share. Everybody's got some value that they can provide. So just come and tell
absolutely.
your story. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So I don't know. Oh wait, here, I got one more for you. I'm gonna put this on and then we'll call it a day.
Would you ever try stand-up comedy?
Anybody joining in, let us know. I kind of
So
feel like we do this sometimes here, especially Mel.
I would try anything once. I think stand-up comedy would be a whole lot easier in a room full of strangers than it would
Mm,
with people that I know. Um, so I think I would try it. I've done karaoke. Comedy is not really that much different than getting up and making a fool of yourself with a microphone in your hand. So I would try it. What about you?
I feel like I do stand-up comedy like 4 out of 5 days in my classroom,
Yeah, right.
especially on casual Fridays when I do decide to actually wear um, jeans. I'm a little bit more like lax with some things, and I mean, the way you say like who I am now when I talk to you or to anybody, like this is my personality all the time. I have like I turn it on like I'm the teacher personality now, and I'm the this personality now. It's just what you see is what you get, but I don't know. Some days I do feel like I am putting on this like comedy act, whether or not it's good or bad. Facebook user says that's my teaching. Yeah, it has to be sometimes because I listened to Alana Leone has a podcast. If anybody knows her, she worked with Edutopia and ran like a lot of the George Lucas Foundation and blogging for years. And she has a consulting group. And she had a podcast episode yesterday I listened to about, getting through the pandemic teaching. She had a guest on there and talking about like tips and the challenges and everything. And the recommendation of her guest was like, you have to have fun. Like you have to take a step back and laugh and take a break with your kids and do something silly and, let your personality come through. And if that is in stand-up comedy, then that's a stand-up comedy. Like I don't necessarily try to be funny sometimes, but sometimes the things that I say like actually are kind of funny. And the one kid in my class made a comment yesterday, and I forget how he said it or what it was, but I said to him, that's funny because it's true. He's like, yeah, it actually is funny because it's true. But I don't know. Oh, we did dad jokes. Hey, Amanda, great to see you. So I don't know. I think that's all I've got other than weekend goals. If anybody has any weekend goals or last words, thanks to everybody who joined in with us today.
What are your weekend goals? What's your plan?
I am for the Cody Awards. I'm one of the judges this year, so I have a company that's doing a demo tomorrow. So that's something new. I have some classwork to work on for one of my doctorate courses. I definitely plan on taking like a super nap at some point. And I think I have like 4, oh gosh, wait. I think I have like 4 blogs to write. So Amanda's giving us a joke. So
okay. Did you hear about the explosion at the cheese factory in France? No, Amanda. All that was left was debris. But that is good. That's a good one, actually. That's a really good one. I'm gonna write that one down. So
yeah, that is awesome. So weekend goals. That's pretty much it. What about you, Dave?
Oh, I'm gonna weather brag. Tomorrow I'm planning on going for a long run at the beach, and then playing in the sand with my kiddos for a little bit. I've been gone quite a bit, so I'm gonna try to just shut it down at least for a day this weekend and just lean into them and make some sand castles and just have some fun in the sun.
Yeah, that also sounds really terrible. No, I'm kidding.
It's a rough life.
Not
It's
at
a
all.
rough life.
Weather brag, although here is pretty nice. Last couple of days. Oh, and Facebook user said, let's see, ISTE certification, go. Yes, it is. It's a tough process. It's very challenging. I didn't think that I would get it done, but it is so worth it. And Amanda says beach sounds lovely. And I find this to be no surprise that she's going to knock out a chapter in a book. So that is awesome. But anyway, well, Dave, it has been great talking with you today on different topics and so many, oh gosh, so many people joining in with some good jokes. And so we'll have to wait to see what this one is. What did one cheese say to cheer the other up? And this is not Amanda.
You're a good friend. It's gonna be okay. Oh, cheese jokes. Love it. I'm writing these down because my kids are gonna think I made them up. So
yeah, they're going to be great. So, well, thanks to everybody who joined in, whether now or later, because we share these out. We are not here on Monday. We will be back actually next Thursday. I invited Rabbi Michael Cohen to join. To join Rachelle and Mel, yeah, the other Rachelle, to join us to talk about NFTs and Bitcoin because he has a fantastic Tuesday nights. I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern. He has a Twitter Spaces on NFTs, and I had written an article a couple of weeks ago and just cited that he was doing some work in that area. So I said, you know what, you need to come on and talk about it because there's like in education, they're using NFTs for micro credentialing. And so can't wait for Thursday and then be back on Friday with Dr. Will. So yes. Oh,
that's
Amanda
awesome.
said non-fungible teaching.
Can we just take a screenshot of this and turn this into an NFT? Does that work? Is that how?
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be great. All right, everybody, we will see you next Thursday. Have a great weekend. Go play in the sand if you're at a beach. If not, just get outside and get some air.
Get outside.
We'll see you next time.